If you do not know the man known as Cop, he has been a longtime friend of mine. We've been playing WoW together since Legion, and he has been around mine and Siler's YouTube content since as far back as I can remember. You may also recognize him from some of the amazing content submitted on this channel. Truly, some of the best things we have reviewed on this channel have come from him. And today we are blessed with even more great content from Cop. Let's start with the funniest thing I've seen outside of a Mythic Plus dungeon yet this season. So he's here getting ready for a not good offensive. I'm not exactly sure what level it is. I think he's been like under 10 at this point in the season, but they have a blood DK. He accurately points out like, oh, that's a good thing. We like blood DKs. But then the guy says this. He says, Tira and Maruk first. Heal my pet, please. Free swift wind. It's big. So if you're not aware, you can mind control the mob in that area and it will just constantly buff. I think it's like buffs the whole party. I don't know exactly if it buffs everybody, but regardless, it is a pretty big pickup. I don't exactly understand like what would happen when you start dragon riding around with it. If anybody knows the answer to that question, let me know. Can you take it to the last boss? Can you take it out of this area basically, or will it just like despawn? I don't know the answer to that question, but the guy is overthinking it one way or the other. He heard about the mind control seemingly, and he's like, all right, let's just keep this thing for the whole dungeon. We're going to go there first. The problem with going there first is that is the place you want to leave from to get to the last boss accurately. So presumably he's going to go in the opposite order. He's going to start with that and then end with Granith, and then you would have to fly from Granith to the last boss, meaning you'd probably add like multiple minutes going all the way back if you wanted to not go in the front door, which is what like 99.9% of people out there are doing. If anybody out there is doing it otherwise, if you're going in the front door, please record that and send that to me, by the way, but that's not for today. The fact that he says heal my pet is a bit funny on its own, because then the resto druid in the group, I mean, this is perfect, by the way, the resto druid in the group is going to go ahead and say this. It says, first, don't tell me what to do. Like, what the hell? He put a little heart, like a little heart. And then the druid is not done talking. Like, he's got more to say, bro. All caps. Secondly, rawr. Now, like a minute and a half later, it's only just dawned on this guy. He says, wait, where are we going? Like, he obviously didn't understand what was being said out of the gate. Honestly, would have really liked to see this dungeon play out from this perspective and see exactly what it looks like. The tank was, he's trying to be quiet. He's trying to just start the key before people start to get uppity. The mage says, tank, what do you want? Which is a very weird way of asking that question. He says, Tira and Maruk and MK. Wait, I don't, mind control? I don't know what that means. MK with swift wind. The druid is incredulous, as always, and says, I don't know about that, chief. I think I'm gonna type in very short bursts. Sneak out of here. Meanwhile, the Evoker is just like, how are we doing the lust then? If you, you need me to do that, right? So yeah, he's gonna leave, then yeah, the whole party just disbands over this strategy. And this is like an interesting thing to learn from a pug perspective. You might see a lot of conversation about this, like, as the tank, your route, your rules kind of thing. Like, you know, in general, that has to be true because you're the only one who's gonna be able to pull stuff and then survive it being pulled. Normally, you would just say like, all right, follow the tank. In this case, like, I don't think this is that bad of a strategy. It's just like really suboptimal, and people probably aren't going to want to fiddle with it just for this buff. The only option here he has is to try to alert them to it, though, because this is not a situation where everybody can just follow him out of the gate and be forced in one direction. You can go anywhere, and it's a lot of travel to get there. So in order to get people to go where you want them to go, you have to convince them to do it. It's a unique dungeon on that front, and Top has captured that moment yet again, something that you'll probably never see again the rest of the season. This is another one that you'll probably never see again the rest of the season, because I've never seen this in this direction. I have seen something similar to myself multiple times. We have multiple videos on this channel like this now, but it's usually very different. I'm going to show you this footage now, and we'll talk about why in a second. But now you're actually doing the dungeon, and this one's very peculiar because we have what seems to be like a perfectly capable group. The demon hunter is going to go like ultra big here. This was on the tyrannical week, so this is not actually a bolstering key, but you're going to see right below my webcam that this is actually a 10. Now, if you've been following Cop's channel, you know that he's kind of not been too keen on doing 10s just yet. He feels a little hesitant towards doing above like an 8 or 9 right now, so you might be surprised to see him in a 10, and that surprise is not just his. So as they barely survive that insane pull, the demon hunter tank then notices what others may be surmising out of the gate here. This is not meant to be a 10. Apparently it was listed as an 8, and for some reason the guy had a 10. So the demon hunter asked, did you mean for it to be a 10? And the hunter, who is the group leader and the guy who formed the group, he says, lol, no, my bad, but let's try 10. Question mark. So that is 2 minutes and 40 some seconds into the dungeon that question gets asked, and that is very significant. So almost a minute later, the Demon Hunter now says, damage is low. I mean, I've been looking at the DPS chart, honestly, like this is perfectly fine, especially this is week 1, don't forget. This is still week 1, so no crazy gearing has happened yet. I mean, I don't really see what the guy thinks the damage would be low for. And even if it was, like, what does that have to do with the 10 versus the 8? Is it so much lower that like you wouldn't even be able to have a chance at a 10 over an 8? Now, that's a funny conversation though, because we have seen this play out in a very different direction, but like a somewhat similar thing. And it always poses a very recurring question whenever you see this happen. If you sign up for a key, how binding is that like sign up process? Like if somebody tells you it's an 8 and it is not an 8, it is not the dungeon that you signed up for, do you feel like there's a social contract there and that you are now responsible for doing the key no matter what? Or do you feel like that has totally been violated and you no longer have any connection to the key whatsoever? It's a question that we posed back in season 1. I tried to do my alts key and somebody actually put their key in over mine. Now that situation was like a slam dunk to me because I am only forming groups for my key. I was trying to raise my alts key. That was the only reason I was doing it. So somebody putting in the exact same key over mine, that guy either is like, he made like the biggest mistake ever, or he is absurdly predatory with keys. Like he's plugging into other people's groups just to take their group and use his key. To me, that is totally unacceptable. We have seen that a couple times over the years. This situation, I don't fully understand. Maybe the paladin and the hunter are together or something like that because they both are from the same realm. Maybe there's a situation where it was meant to be the paladin's key who has the 8 and the hunter instead has the 10. But the fact that it's actually the same dungeon and just 2 levels higher makes you think that the guy had the 10. He was for some reason not interested in doing the 10 and he just wanted to lower it to the 8. He formed the group and then just forgot to do that. Does that change your opinion? What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, in my opinion, like, well, I don't know why you would try not to do a 10. If you're just farming vaults, yeah, I guess maybe 8's a good option, but I assume most people are just signing up to 8s because they think that they would be getting like easier invites and an easier time. Well, you're here with the only 3 deaths are from the tank's like really bizarre first pull, like super over aggressive first pull, and even that went fine. Like 3 deaths there is like actually fine. Like people die that even when you only pull 1 pack there. So we're doing really, really well. The dungeon's going great. It's been like 4 minutes since anybody talked about it. To me, like at that point, it's swung back the other direction. Like if you were mad, the time for that conversation was the 2 minute 40 mark whenever we were saying it before. You had the chance to get out of it. You had the chance to say one way or the other. But Granite is going to go down on a tyrannical 10 week 1 in 3 minutes 38 seconds. I mean, is that even slow? Like that feels like a pretty good time to me considering week 1 tyrannical 10. And as they kill it, the priest says tank with a squiggly face, and I guess that means he's hearthing and leaving. So the tank leaves 9 minutes plus into the dungeon. That is 7 minutes after it was first talked about. This guy decides that okay, yeah, sorry, the bargain has not been met. Now I am going to leave the group, even though they literally had no wipes, they had no issues, not a single actual issue in that part of the dungeon. Just utterly bizarre stuff. Like I don't think you will ever see this again. To me, it's like a gift, especially from Cop's perspective, because he's like kind of anxious about doing a little bit higher keys. This was a gift. They said, oh yeah, come in an 8. He feels confident signing up. He feels like, oh great, I'm gonna go do this key. He gets invited, and then they're like, actually, this is a 10. It's a blessing in disguise. You have an opportunity to get something more for your value, and frankly, it's probably not that much harder. You just proved it's not that much harder. The first area went flawlessly. That's like not the hardest area, obviously, but considering it was tyrannical week, first week, I think this is a good indication that you can probably upgrade this key and succeed. But the Demon Hunter leaves, and then Cop has this interaction with his chat, and I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this. He says, to me, since the tank kept pulling and stayed in the dungeon, like we said, for like almost 7 minutes, he has essentially committed to staying in the group as a 10, and that conversation is now closed. But he said his chat seemed to be of the opinion that the hunter was the one who was wrong here, and that he was shady for listing it as an 8 when he actually intended to do the 10. Cop says, while I agree that if the hunter knowingly did that, that is shady, he believes it might have been because he doesn't think he would be qualified for a 10, so that's why he listed it as an 8 to try to attract better candidates. I don't really see that. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, it's his key. He has it no matter what Blizzard has given him it, so he is qualified for it. Cop says, even though the chat disagreed, he maintains that the worst actor is the tank by leaving the group. He's interested in my thoughts and also your guys' thoughts too, so please leave your thoughts on this. What do you guys think about this situation? I guess the question is, like, if you found yourself in this group, what would your reaction be? How would you respond to this, especially if you're in the boat of somebody intentionally signing up to 8s. I can't really get into that headspace right now. Like, I don't really understand, like, why are people signing up to it? Is it because they're just looking for easy vault clears? Maybe that's the reason, and the guy doesn't want to like struggle through the key, but I don't see any evidence of struggle here. And you just spent like 10 minutes plus in the dungeon forming the group, probably like upwards of 20 minutes spent on here. Why would you leave? How much time are you actually saving? You're in the dungeon you wanted to do. It can't be that different. But yeah, like I said, he legitimately finds crazy moments. I cannot get over it. His channel is going to be linked down below if you guys want to check it out. But yeah, this season has been wild. Unfortunately, today we weren't able to stream because the servers just need to be down for 14.5 hours for absolutely no reason. Thank you very much. Good work, Blizzard. But we will be back tomorrow. But yeah, the next week is Mop Remix, guys. So stay tuned. We're going to stream next Tuesday and Wednesday. Hopefully the servers will be normal on those days. And then Thursday will be Mop Remix. I'll be streaming that on my second channel. We finally got that channel partnered, so just in time. This was perfect. Thank you guys all. That'll be linked down below as well if you guys want to check it out. Otherwise, keep pressing that record button. Keep enjoying season 4. We will see you guys in the next video.